A quick disclaimer before we begin. Everything discussed in this episode reflects our personal opinions and experiences as educators. Always use your professional judgment and follow your organization's policies when evaluating and using AI tools. Welcome to Classroom to Code. I'm Nadia.
And I'm Noni.
We are two teacher moms in two different countries who somehow found ourselves building apps, learning AI, joining a Replit build-a-thon, and realizing that maybe we were never as far from tech as we thought.
Because before we ever called ourselves builders, we were teachers. We were already adapting, troubleshooting, differentiating, testing, fixing, and trying again.
This podcast is about what happens when teachers stop waiting for someone else to build the thing that they need and start asking, can I make this myself?
We'll talk about the messy parts, the scary parts, and the what am I even doing parts. And the moments where something finally works and you think, wait, I actually built that?
We'll talk about AI literacy, education, app building, design mistakes, accidental wins, motherhood, and what it really looks like to go from an idea in your head to something real.
And if you're listening and thinking, I'm not technical enough, I'm too late, or people like me don't build things like this, then honestly, this is the show for you.
Because we thought that too.
And we were wrong.
Welcome to episode 3 of Classroom to Code. Today we're talking about the AI tools that educators should know about.
So there's hundreds of tools of AI out there, but educators don't need them all. They just need the right few. We're going to be having a look at what these different kind of tools are.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a conversation that's really important because there's a lot of noise out there right now about AI, and I think people are using AI like it's one thing, right? But the truth is, who really knows what AI means and like what are the different tools and how do the different tools work? And especially when it comes to teaching and education, I've noticed that a lot of teachers don't have guidance on it, or we're just being told not to use it or use this tool. So we don't know what's good for what. I don't know if you've seen this also, Noni, in the UK, but here in the States, when you hear somebody who's kind of, they're referring to using AI, they're saying, oh, I asked AI. I feel like there's almost a default one that they're probably talking
Yeah.
about. Do you feel that too?
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
always a default one, but there's so many other ones out there that can do different things for different, especially when it comes to education as well, which is
Mhm.
really interesting, but they do stick to one default one.
Yeah. And is it generally the same? Because I want to know if you're thinking of the one I'm thinking of.
Is it ChatGPT?
It's ChatGPT. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they'll always say, oh, yeah, I asked AI and it'll be ChatGPT. And I feel like that's kind of like your gateway AI tool. And that's why I wanted it to be something that we talk about as well. And then also looking at all the different things that we could possibly use and what's good for what. But I think
Yeah.
it's important to talk about why this episode matters, right? Like AI is a hot button issue right now. People want to talk about AI in education. There's a lot of talk around, academic dishonesty with
Mm-hmm.
AI, cheating. Oh, kids are forgetting how to think and this and that. And I think the truth is that AI, if you know how to use it correctly and ethically, it can
Mm-hmm.
actually be something that's very valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's important that it needs to be remembered that it can be used alongside education rather than replacing education, which is what the worry or the fear is.
Yeah. Yeah. I think someone posted, and I thought, oh, they're going to get a lot of slack for this one, um, but someone posted, oh, people are afraid of AI taking their jobs. They're not afraid of AI, or they're scared that they're going to be better at their jobs. And I think for teachers, one thing that we need to hear about AI is that we are in a field that is human to human. And we are always going to be needed. And I will stand by
Hmm.
that the teacher will always need to be human. Can you learn from AI? Yes. But when we're talking about education, our jobs will change for sure as we use AI,
Yeah,
just like they do with any technology. But I don't ever see the human teacher becoming obsolete. I think we're always going to be the most important
yeah,
part of learning. Do you agree with
yeah.
that?
Absolutely. That human connection is so important to learn anything,
Mhm.
and it's again education's still where it was a few years ago, no matter how much technology has been advanced. Technology has seeped into the classroom slowly, but it's not taken over. Same thing
Yeah.
goes with AI. It'll seep into the classroom and you could work alongside it, but it wouldn't take over. I don't see it ever taking over what a teacher does.
How do you feel about like when people say things like, we shouldn't be using AI in the classroom?
Because I've, taken time to look into all these different AI tools, I disagree. I think there's so much workload on teachers. I think it's so important for teachers to, step foot in that direction. Take a look at the
Yeah.
different AI tools and what they can help with, the workload, the different kind of things. There's so many things a teacher does. It all of those things, AI tools can help with those things and reduce the amount of work that a teacher puts in.
That's a huge, huge thing to talk about. And I think, it deserves an episode dedicated to it as well. Burnout in education.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I can only speak to what I've studied, and I looked at the US specifically. But I think that the burnout rate, I've seen anything from 2 years to 5 years, and that's for highly qualified teachers as well, and
Mm-hmm.
or especially where you've got these amazing teachers who are putting in so much, and then the systems, the workload, all of that is causing them to burn out. And that's actually
Yeah.
what I studied, so I could talk about it forever. But I think the
That's-
yeah, the important takeaway is that AI is here, and we can use it to help reduce the burnout and to do it ethically
Mhm.
as long as we're deliberate about it and intentional.
Yeah, I know where and how to use it.
Yeah, I also think, and this is something that I think for both of us as creative people, you as a designer, I've just always kind of dabbled in all things creative. Um, the amount of time you save in, taking your creative ideas and bringing them to life with AI, I've noticed that I want to say it's halved the time, but it's far greater
Hmm.
than that.
Way more than that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And so
absolutely.
it's a creative tool, right? Like there's a lot of talk about, we don't want it to be writing our books, and we don't want it to, it's putting artists out of jobs. I mean, you're an artist. What do you think about that piece of it?
I think it's artists always put their personal touch to it, still to their work, but again, it's something there to support rather than replace. Um, Artists have their own vision, their own style, their own ideas, which is what is important to take. And when you're using these AI tools, that's what you apply.
Right, right. No, that's so fascinating. For me, improving my workflows, efficiency, again, I'm licensed in so many states, and each state has different laws and norms and ways of organizing information. Even writing IEP is the language that they use. Um, I need something to organize my workflow and to keep
Mm-hmm.
things smooth. And AI has been a really, really great way to do that. Again, which tool is going to vary, but I think that
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the best things it can do for educators also is really help us sort things out and organize.
Yeah, so let's have a look. Let's take a look at some of the AI tools that some you have used, some I've used, some we've both used.
Yeah. So let's talk about there's a whole gamut here of different tools, but I tried to pick the ones that I thought were most commonly coming up in teacher conversations,
Mm-hmm.
or conversations in general for people who are maybe consider themselves non-technical. And we talked about the first big one that when people say I asked AI, or we even say ask chat, right? Like
Yeah.
chat is one tool. It is not the tool. It is not the only tool, but it is I don't know the statistics. I don't know if it's the most common, but at least in what I've
Yeah.
seen, this is
I
the
think
big
so. I
one.
mean, the conversations I have, it feels like it is the most common one. Again, I'm not sure about statistics as well on this one, but it's whenever you have a conversation with anyone, it's ChatGPT every time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's because of the free model. Maybe that's why. I've been
Yeah.
on a paid plan for ChatGPT for a long time. And I used it extensively for a lot of things, but I do have some concerns about the limitations of it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just curious how other teachers are using it. For me, it helps a lot with organizing things, the projects that you can create on there, and even having it, training it on what my expertise are as a teacher of the deaf and the way that I like to write my notes and things like that. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, do you find ChatGPT useful for you? I think I find it useful in general more than just like my work
Yeah, I think
as
not
an
just
educator.
for teaching, but for quite a lot of things. A quick question that I can't find the answer to, maybe little guides to figure something out, do a quick lesson plan, maybe find like if I'm in the middle of a lesson and I don't know what to do, I'll pull up ChatGPT and ask, what's the synonyms for a word, or something like little things that could quite help with the learning process as well.
Yeah, I think ChatGPT is pretty great for drafting IEP goals for me. We have to write SMART goals. Do you write IEPs
Hmm.
too?
We do write IOPs, yep, termly.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So that's a huge part of what I do. Every one of my students is an IEP student because I'm a special educator. And so
Hmm.
a big part of what I do is, the progress monitoring and writing goals and all of that. And I do think because it's so cost effective, ChatGPT is a great partner, but you do have to do a lot of tweaking and you have to make sure it's
Yeah,
still you. I think the biggest caution for me with ChatGPT is you don't want to copy and paste directly out of ChatGPT.
yeah,
It tends to make a lot of mistakes. I
yeah. And that's the thing as well with AI tools. Any AI tool that we use is we've got to be cautious about what information we're giving to be able to take bring. So we've got to filter what we give to ChatGPT. Obviously, when we're working with children, we can't
Oh
put
yeah,
their names and information onto there. So
that's huge.
yeah, we've got to be quite cautious with that too.
Yeah, that's a big one with all AI. I think what's worth mentioning is never put anything that identifies your students, even like for
Mm-hmm.
people who are in healthcare or whatnot, never put anything that identifies your patients. That for me is like, if you ask ChatGPT where I work, it wouldn't know, right? And I think it's
Mm-hmm.
important to keep it that way. Even when writing IEP goals, don't put in the child's name, fill that in later. You
Yeah.
could put student as a default, and this should just be in the way that you work. Always the children always have to be protected first.
Yeah.
And we always have to think, for us it's called FERPA compliance, and HIPAA. Those are like the regulations as far as patient privacy, student privacy. Identifiers for all of the AI tools, I would say just assume that they are to be kept out. I know
Mm-hmm.
that
Always.
there's
Yeah.
some compliance software that you would have to talk to the school you're working at and whatnot about that. I don't think I'll ever be comfortable unless it's an IEP software directly putting anything that
Mm-hmm.
identifies a student. It has to be something
Yeah.
that's school approved. But that being said, idea generation, I think ChatGPT is a great partner for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also use it to bounce ideas back and
Mm-hmm.
forth.
Yeah.
Brainstorming. I think brainstorming, like you mentioned, lessons, but also anything in life, even, I've
Mm-hmm.
planned vacations on it. I think it's pretty great for writing. But one note for feedback is that I found it to be a little bit too, I don't know the word, like supportive, affirmative.
Mm, optimistic. Too
Optimistic.
optimistic. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's sometimes you need oh, what's the word? Real feedback sometimes. And sometimes I feel like it's too optimistic and it's too if there's anything negative with your idea, it may not pinpoint it quite so well.
Yeah, ChatGPT
Do you
really
know what I
doesn't want to
mean?
hurt your feelings. It's like
Yeah, yeah,
it
that's it, yeah.
sugarcoats, sometimes to your detriment. I remember hearing about it like making people delusional. They think that they've had some kind of crazy breakthrough because ChatGPT kept egging them on. So you have
Yeah.
to be really careful.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
Everybody feels like they're super special because they talk to ChatGPT. We
Yeah.
are all special, don't get me wrong, but I think it's important to note that this is something that people have noted as a tendency with
Hmm.
it. It's by
Hmm.
OpenAI. I recommend that you always know who creates the software and the privacy
Yeah.
around it. And everything. I know people don't like to read those long terms and conditions, but it's important
Yeah.
to at least know what they're doing with the information that you give. Um, My favorite thing, especially as somebody who needs things broken down, is if I have a concept, having it broken down for me in a way that I can understand. That's a
Hmm.
big one. I need that, and that also, helps students in turn.
Yeah, it's really good to break down, but don't you find sometimes that it might give you a very long explanation that you just don't need? Sometimes it breaks it down too much and then it keeps going. That's what I found. Then I have to tell it to bring it back and just give me, you know, make it more summarized for me.
Yeah, yeah. I do have to do a lot of back and forth with it. I can't tell you the number of times I've corrected it also. I'm like, actually, no. And it's like, oh
Hmm.
yeah, sorry, that was an oversight, or whatever it says. And it's
Yeah,
like, okay, but
yeah.
what if I took you at face value? So I wouldn't, my big thing I think with ChatGPT is not using it as a source of information
Yeah.
because it's wrong a lot. In my experience, maybe that'll change. I know they just ran, there's always updates and things like that. I think the biggest
Hmm.
update that I noticed was to the images. The image generation just got
Yes.
so much better recently.
So good. Yeah.
I used to not
Very
use it
good.
at all for that. And now I'm like, oh, wow, this is pretty great.
Yeah. It is good, is it? And it lets you edit those images as well. So it'll create an image, and if you want to edit anything in that image, it'll let you do it. But yeah, it improves so much more than it used to be.
Yeah, and if you're building with it or creating lessons or whatnot, you can generate a pretty awesome image. Again, check everything, right? And
Hmm.
I don't think that the strength has ever been putting words on those images with ChatGPT. I see that, they have a free secure ChatGPT for Teachers workspace. I have not tried that. Is that something you've tried?
No, I haven't. Haven't looked into that. I think I'm too busy with the other tools to look into that right now, to be
Right,
honest.
right. Yeah, same. The
Hmm.
amount that I'm using ChatGPT lately is going down quite a bit. So
Hmm.
another big one that I hear from teachers is Canva.
Canva, my favorite.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
Canva.
absolutely love Canva. So I started off using Canva for my Etsy. It's because I make teacher resources, digital downloads, where they can go onto my Etsy, download a digital resource, print it, laminate it, put up in the classroom however they want. And I made everything on Canva. So easy. They have like ready-made elements for you to use and templates that you can use and editable text. It's really great.
Yeah, Canva is amazing. I mean, it is so on the forefront and always like evolving and adding features and things like that. Do you remember when you first started using Canva? Any chance?
No, I don't. It's definitely been a few years, but no, I don't remember. But it is my go-to every time. It's definitely my go-to for everything. And I think over the past few years, it's improved so much as well. And they've added so many things to it.
Yeah, the AI on Canva, I
Mm.
haven't done so much with it. I think sometimes there's overwhelm because there's just so much available out there right now.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you don't want to be paying subscriptions on everything. That's crazy, especially on a teacher budget. And
So
Canva is
on
Mhm.
Canva, they do have the educators,
Okay.
um, and it's free for educators. So if you sign up as an educator and put in your ID and everything, it's free.
Oh, okay. So that's good to
Yeah,
know. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I
Pretty cool.
I did it for business originally when I started my business. But I've been using Canva since at least 2017, I think it was,
Mm.
which is a long time. I like to pride myself on being an early adopter. I know when something's good, I can tell very fast. And the only reason I know that is because I used Canva when planning my baby shower.
Ah, cool.
And we did like a around the world theme, and I was able to, at that point it was not AI, it was just like graphics, but they had a really cool graphic library because I remember when
Mm-hmm.
we used to buy like clip art, remember? Like back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
you'd buy like a
Mm-hmm.
piece of
Yeah.
it, like one little graphic, whether you like it or not. And I just found that it had such a great library at that time, and then it's just evolved. They have the Magic Studio now where you can like
Yeah.
generate, I think you can do videos now
Yeah,
and
yeah, you can
voiceover.
generate images, generate videos. You just give them the description. Even if you have a ready-made element from Canva, you can click on that and you can ask it to generate it differently according to how you want it,
Really?
personalize it. Yeah, it's really cool.
Oh, I had no idea. I'd love for you to show me that sometime because that image piece of it, when I work with deaf kids and other kids with needs, even myself as a visual learner, uh, the fact that we can customize so much on Canva, and that I will say is like one of the best things is that you can really take any design and make it your own. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it's definitely the tool that I work fastest on just because I have muscle memory and I know how to navigate it. The
Yeah.
user interface is really great. And this is a big one for teachers. I think I have I'm I don't know that I've met a teacher that doesn't use Canva recently.
Mm.
You know, it's a
Yeah.
big one.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone. And in my school, they weren't so much into Canva up until last year. We had the head deputy head introduce it to all the teachers, and since then they all got on board because they it's quite easy to use, and there's so much you can do on it. There's so much you can make on it, like slides, presentations for the classroom, worksheets,
Oh yeah.
all sorts. Yeah, really great. It's
Yeah.
like
And
quick.
how about the templates? What do you think of the templates? Because I like love those as starting points.
They're really great because they've got such a huge variety
Yeah.
of templates that you can pick from, and you can also like pick a template and then change it, edit it according to how you want to have it. Really cool.
Amazing. Yeah, I love Canva. I think if somebody is listening to this podcast as an educator and has not tried it, this is an amazing tool, especially because there's Canva for education, as long as
Yes,
it's a
definitely go for
verified.
the Canva education for
Yeah,
teachers.
that's awesome. All right, Claude. Do you use Claude?
Yes, I have a couple of times. I have,
Yeah.
yes. I feel like this is more for tech related things. I don't know. I find that's what I find. It's more related to tech related things.
Yeah, so Claude, it's interesting. And again, for the developers that might be listening here, it's for teachers, this is not, as far as I've seen, a huge one. I have a couple teacher friends who do use Claude. They've used
Hmm.
it, they do use it for like drafting emails and things like that, which I think, people can also use ChatGPT for. Claude is very powerful from what I understand I've had it generate like research reports based on data. I know that they have a project feature where you can, you put all your files into it. Even my husband and I were talking about Claude recently because he's in medicine and he has to do a presentation and he was like, I have all this research and I have to do this and that. And I was like, I really think Claude is the one that you should use because you could
Hmm.
use ChatGPT, but there's a chance that it's going to make stuff up. Claude, I think, is a little bit more meticulous. Again, you still have to
Hmm.
check everything all the time. Don't ever
Yeah.
trust AI blindly. But I do feel like it's helped me organize things. I also used it. I know people use Claude Code and things like that. I had to create, I had tons of data points from my first project or my first, I guess, product that I sold. I had 6,000 assessments worth of anonymized history from how students did on math tests using my
Hmm.
app. And I was able to take the anonymized data raw and have it conduct growth analysis through
Oh,
Claude.
that's great.
And then it
Yeah.
created an interactive dashboard piece and analysis. And so I
Oh,
just found
wow.
it, yeah, I found it to be so robust. And you can also take that then and then, put it on your website and it's interactive. They'll
Mm.
write the code for it. So I've had to do really, really awesome things. I think the number one thing for it is just the detail orientedness. I'd love to hear from our listeners too about what they think about
Hmm.
Claude because I haven't used it extensively. I know a lot of developers who swear by it, but I do think that it requires a little bit more patience to learn and it's a little bit more advanced.
Yeah. I used it a couple of times for organizing ideas for when I was building um my app on Replit. It came in handy for that. But I've had teachers tell me about how, and I tried it out myself too, was our end of year report writing. I don't know, do you have end of year reports over there?
We do end of year reports. We like progress updates and kind of just putting in where they
Mm-hmm.
are, especially for the kids with IEPs. And then there's report cards as well, that you
Yeah.
send home.
So
Yeah.
we tried writing reports, generating reports without children's names, of course, in Claude, and the language it used didn't work out as well as it did on ChatGPT. That one worked out better than Claude did. That's why I feel like Claude is more like technical based. ChatGPT can adjust its tone according to how you need it. I'm not seeing properly how to do that for educators on Claude. However, from technical point of view, I think it's quite good for when it came to me developing my app. So yeah, it was good for that. It had like really good explanations and broke down different ideas for me.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I like how it's really good for like reports and like the way that it organizes information. It's very nice, even the look and feel of it, the design.
Mm-hmm.
I like its outputs more. I think for me as a researcher, I found it very valuable for analyzing data.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big one. That being said, I don't default to it. I think the ease of use, there's a little bit of learning curve there with learning how to use it. And then I think it's worth talking about Claude. Again, I don't, or cost of Claude. I don't know that I'm utilizing what I should be as far as educator discounts and things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
I think it was $20. I did a month paid and I hit that very quickly.
Yeah.
And then it asks, I think you can do pay as you go, and it asks you to pay more, or you have to wait till like I remember it saying like wait till 4 p.m. and I'm like, I'm in a flow. Why are you stopping me? So that was
That's
a
happened on
big one.
ChatGPT to me as well. So
Really?
I had to, yeah, I had to end up paying for because I was using it so often before. I
Yeah.
ended up paying for the monthly plan.
Yeah, yeah. I'm on the monthly plan of ChatGPT and I don't hit, limits because of that. But on Claude, you'll be on a $20 a month plan and you'll hit the limit still. And it'll tell you
Uh,
to wait. Or like it has to compress the conversations and whatnot. And I know there's always new things coming out. I don't know if you're following the drama around Fable and all of that. And so
yes.
yeah, it's changing. It's worth noting that it's June 2026 right now. And so like you
Mm-hmm.
if you're listening to this in a couple of months, the whole landscape might be very different.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Claude is one to talk about. Claude Code. Have you tried Claude Code?
I have not, no. I have heard a lot about it, but I have not given it a go.
I had it in like I had pinned it as one that I want to try, but I've never needed
Mm-hmm.
to because of another tool that we're going
Yes.
to talk about, right?
Yeah.
So, Gemini, have you tried Gemini?
Gemini, yes. When it came to report writing, again, Gemini was another one that we did a few reports on. Again, wasn't so happy with the language it was using, so I like reverted back to ChatGPT. But Gemini is also good for what do you call it? I've forgotten my words. I
Yeah, I'm thinking like images was a big one for me, especially before ChatGPT's most recent
didn't try
upgrade.
images on there.
Oh my
It
gosh, you
was more.
should.
It was so summarizing. So I remember. See, my brain is switching on now.
Yeah.
It was really good for summarizing. So any
Okay.
text or anything, or even like a lesson plan.
Mhm.
Give it a lesson plan, and then it would give back me information on how to improve it or activities I could add into it, or different independent tasks, things like that. So I use it a couple of times, not so much.
Yeah, I use Gemini. I have it because I have an upgraded Google because I've been having using the same email address forever and whatnot. And so I did the AI early on. I'm finding myself using Gemini less and less. But Gemini has a lot of cool stuff like I don't know if you've ever tried Notebook LM.
Mm.
Just amazing. You can upload books, you can upload research, you can turn it into a podcast and listen to it
Ah.
like a podcast. Yeah, it's really cool and creative in a lot of ways. I think the fact that it accesses your entire, if you're on Google, if your school uses Google, like the Google Classroom, it's got a lot of learning features and stuff for education just built in. Again, I would say try Notebook. The image generation is really good. I think it's not great for memory, at least in the time that I've used it. Like it's the personalization piece. I think they're working on it and things are changing, but
Mm-hmm.
it is really good for quick stuff.
Sounds one to try.
Yeah, and also code. I think that for me as someone who is not, I don't write code myself, but I want to figure out errors in code, especially when I was doing a big project where I was making the portal for my teachers and that use my app and I had to pull information from one resource to another and I could not figure out what the heck was wrong with my code. And it actually, you can just put your GitHub repository link in there and it
Mm-hmm.
will read your code for you. So that was really cool. I think Claude does the same actually.
Mm-hmm.
But I did like Gemini, but I think the biggest advantage right now of Gemini for me is that it is built into, your Drive, your Google Drive. And so that just having that continuity there and things working
Yeah.
together is really helpful.
Going back to you mentioning GitHub, I thought we'll just mention what GitHub is for those people who don't
Oh yeah,
know.
good point.
And there would be a lot of educators who wouldn't know what that means. It's kind of like having a Google Drive that uploads your code into one place and keeps it there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, for reference.
Yeah, yeah. And so and I'm not again a huge user, but because there's integrations with vibe coding platforms, it's a good way to bookmark and keep your code somewhere that is not just
Hmm.
on the platform on which it lives. So yes, that is a good catch. People would not know what that is in education, but it's a lot simpler than it sounds. And I think it's important
Yeah.
to not get overwhelmed by the terminology. You learn as you go. Like if things don't
Yeah.
make sense.
I didn't a few weeks ago. I didn't know what GitHub was, but learned up on
Yeah.
it.
I did it in 2020. I used Git for when I was manually coding for my one front end coding course, and I learned what it is, and then I forgot about it. And then it came back
Yeah.
when I started vibe coding. I was like, oh, save this to Git. And so there are integrations, and you'll find it useful that way. Some people don't use it.
Hmm.
It's kind of up to you. Have you tried Copilot?
No, I have not.
Okay,
I
so
tried to use Copilot actually. I tried to use it for a PowerPoint once. Did not work out for me the way I wanted it to, so I didn't go back to it again after that.
yeah, so Copilot, this is just me. It's a me thing. I know some people love it. I actually know people who swear by it, and this is all they use. They won't touch ChatGPT. It is great if you're part of the Microsoft ecosystem. I
Hmm.
personally have only been part of the Microsoft ecosystem when I'm forced to, just because I do find it a little bit, it's old school, right? And if you know how
Hmm.
to use it, then use it. That's great.
Yeah.
Good for you. They're very powerful, robust tools like Word,
Yes.
Excel, PowerPoint. That's awesome.
I know a
Um,
lot of companies do use these as well. And like my husband, the company that he works for, they just all do everything on Copilot and get it done quite quick.
I've heard of school sponsoring, Copilot. I'm sure they have something for education as well. Again, I'm not a big user of Copilot. I've used it once or twice, maybe. My doctorate, when I was doing it, I used Copilot because they made us do everything on through Microsoft, which was a
Hmm.
headache for me, and I wish I was more comfortable with it. I'm very, I'm a Google suite girl, right? Like I use Google. I've always kind of been like that for as long as I can remember,
Yeah.
and I used it and it seems very powerful. Microsoft tends to make some amazing stuff. Especially, if your emails are in there and everything, that's awesome. So I guess between Gemini and Copilot, the big question is like, are you more Google or are you more Microsoft, right? Or maybe the institution or the school you're at. I have multiple schools on my caseload. Some of them use Copilot. Some of them use Google or they use Microsoft, some of them use Gemini and all that. And so again, depends on your needs, where you're at and what your school or your organization is using.
Hmm.
Okay, Perplexity. This one
No,
is
this is one I have not even looked at. I don't know anything about Perplexity, so this one's yours.
Okay, well, I'm definitely not an authority to speak on Perplexity, but what I will say is it is an amazingly robust tool for research. So,
Mm,
as a researcher, this is the only one if I'm asking for true information. If I want to know what the peer-reviewed studies say, if I want to know what the facts are, I go to Perplexity. They have also, I have, because I was a student, a university student, I was able to get Perplexity for free. So
hmm.
I'm not sure exactly what that program, entails anymore. I just remember it was really easy to sign up for and I did it. I'm able to pull live studies that way. One of my friends was telling me recently that they just love it because it is the one that doesn't have outdated information. So
Hmm.
Perplexity is huge. I think some people don't even know about it. But it's
Yeah, you don't
big.
really hear much about it. I mean, I think especially in the education side, I don't hear anyone talk about Perplexity. Copilot, yes. Gemini, yes. ChatGPT all the time, but not Perplexity.
Right. I just did, I just published my dissertation and I will tell you I do not trust any other AI tool to lead me to studies. That being said, I don't use references from AI without checking everything
Yeah.
because there is a lot of fake stuff out
Mm-hmm.
there where, it's like fake citations. Like there
Mm-hmm.
are places that will link you to studies that don't exist or make claims that are just not true. So you still have to use your brain. You still have to read the
Mm-hmm.
research. You still have to check the citations, check the links, make sure, it's hard because not everything is open access in the world of research. sometimes it's hard to find. I'm still a fan of going to Google Scholar and looking for things. But it's really important in the tools I create that everything is research backed. Or sometimes
Yeah.
I'm like, what does the research say about this? Or like I'll notice a
Hmm.
trend and be like, this is what I'm noticing. Is this true? And Perplexity will link me to the relevant studies, and I can look at them in
Yeah.
more detail. So I'm
That's great.
I'm a researcher, and so it might be more relevant for me than it is for someone who's not as into research. But again, I think it's important that everything we do, the decisions we make, we should have the data and the knowledge to back it up.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so this is a really, really useful tool for
Hmm.
that. It's probably one of my favorites, to be honest, as someone who does research. All right. I've never even heard of TeachMate before this,
TeachMate.
so tell me
This
about it.
is one that is around in the UK, used by some teachers. There is actually he's quite popular teacher on Instagram, TikTok, Mr. P, and he is co-founder of TeachMate. This is used
Hmm.
by quite a few teachers. It's like an AI tool that's um dedicated to teaching. And it goes according to your curriculum. So you can create lesson plans, worksheets, quizzes, reports, any kind of resource, even like PowerPoint slides. Maybe not the way you want it to be designed, but it can create a lot of things for specifically for teachers in the classroom. Um,
Amazing.
it is quite good. I have used this a few times, but then again, and then I think it is great. There's so much you can do with it, specifically for teachers. But then also all of the things in there can be done by Gemini and ChatGPT. So um
Interesting.
yeah, it is quite good. Quite a few teachers do use this.
Okay.
Especially when they want like a matching lesson plan, slides with worksheets. It's good for that. It's really good for that.
Yeah, no, this is really interesting because you said a teacher made it as one of the co-creators.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's awesome. I think that for me is a distinguishing thing in what I look for. I'm sick of
Yeah.
people who are not doing the work or who have not done the work, tr telling us what we need as teachers. And so when I see something that's made by a teacher, I am like, okay, cool, that's worth trying. That's probably got something because,
Yeah, because they
yeah,
know how the classroom works, they know how the lessons work, the curriculum, they're familiar with it all. So they're able to create a tool that will work best for the teachers like himself.
yeah, yeah. So that's huge.
Hmm.
All right, this is I don't want to speak for you, but this is definitely my favorite. And I know that it's
Definitely,
not
yeah.
a starting point for a lot of teachers because it seems
Yes.
like this is a developer tool or it's, something that, if you're very techie, you will use it. But
Hmm.
I think we're here to challenge that today.
Yeah, definitely one of my favorites.
I will venture to say it is my favorite.
Yeah,
I'm
like definitely 100%. Like we just said in the previous with the previous TeachMate AI that it's a teacher who made it. This kind of falls into that really well as well when it comes to Replit. So, do you want to go ahead and talk about what Replit is?
Yeah, so Replit helps you build out the idea that you have into a real app, but it's so much more than that too. And I think that's what people might not realize is that Replit actually can be used for, yes, you're making apps with it, but you can build a whole lot of other things with it, and it is incredibly, incredibly intelligent. It's like having a developer in your pocket, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
if anytime you've said, I wish I could have this, Replit is the tool that can get you there. You can prototype your ideas. Any problem that I come up with. I will tell you something really funny that I just had a conversation with my husband, but we were talking about, an issue that he's having at work related to related to people not having bad body odor. Okay. This is
Yeah.
and maybe it's useful for our middle school
Fun
teachers here.
conversation.
Yeah. And I was thinking in my head, and this is just the way that Replit has changed the way my brain works, is I was thinking, what if we built an app where you could anonymously, kindly tell someone that they need deodorant?
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's not a bad
Yeah.
idea.
And it will email them anonymously or message
It's the
them and
hardest
say,
conversation to have.
right. And like you don't want to have that conversation, right? And so
Yeah.
what if an app does it for you? So
Hmm.
I mean, that's not a classroom problem per se. He's not in the classroom, but I was like, I was a middle school teacher. It is definitely a
Hmm.
classroom problem sometimes. Where,
Yes,
you
it
know,
is. It is higher up in primary schools as well.
yeah, so I think this is a real conversation that just happened is that once you start using Replit, you start to realize that any problem that you have, you can now build a solution for it. So it's not just for
Yeah.
teachers, actually. I don't think people realize that even that it is for teachers, and that's what we're trying to tell
Mm-hmm.
you. And then you
Yeah.
can ship it. You can get your app. I mean, you can monetize it. That's a big one that we're
Yeah,
making
and
making money
I
on
just
it.
like to say something that when I heard about when I thought Replits, you can build apps, I just thought mobile apps, but that's not the only thing. There's web apps, your own website, slides, presentations. There's so much that you can do with it. Am I missing? What else am I missing?
Oh, oh my gosh, there's so much. I did animations yesterday. I posted an animation
Animations,
and like
amazing
it is
animations.
I used to use when you're animating AI videos or whatever, I've made animations and videos with Canva all the time, but also I used to use Sora, which is an open or no, it is
Hmm.
yeah, it's the same as the ChatGPT, right? Like it was part of
Hmm.
it and it was so good and they shut that down recently. And I know that there's so many other ones out there that people use. I think people use Gemini for animations as well and
Yeah.
there's Runway and things like that. I didn't realize until yesterday that Replit can do all of that. Replit integrates
Hmm.
all these things. And so
Yes.
I made a promo for an app that I had created for fun. And I was like, this is cinematic. It's
It's
amazing.
amazing. I actually
Yeah.
saw that as well, and I thought I could not believe that Replit had come up with that. I thought you'd use some kind of other AI tool to generate that video. It was really great. It's a good social media video as well.
Yes.
I've not tried it, but I'm sure Replit can come make good social media videos as well.
A big thing for me is also presentations with Replit. So I
Hmm.
do a lot of presenting. I speak at conferences all the time. I'm part of a Replit EDU, which is a bunch of university professors and some people who are founders as well in this space. Who are sharing what they know. And I was the first presenter on their first webinar, and I used Replit to make my slides and
So
it does
good.
it so intelligently. And I will tell you, and I'm never going to, say anything bad about any tool, because I think that every tool brings value to the user
Hmm.
that is right for them. But I used to use a different tool. I used to use Gamma. For
Hmm.
presentations because I do so much presenting all the time. And I think Canva also might have because Canva you can do slides. I don't know the level of
Yes, you can.
AI. Yeah. Do they let you make slides with AI on Canva?
You can, not really. They have templates for you to use, and then you can change things on there. And then I've not really had a look at that side of it, but possibly
Yeah.
I'm sure they would have updated it by now to be able to do it.
Yeah.
I've not tried it. I make them manually.
Yeah, yeah. And I love to have my own touch on everything that I make. I don't
Mm-hmm.
like for it to be AI generated in full. But one of the biggest things for me is throwing down, I call it throwing down the clay, right? And like giving it a rough shape. That piece that helps you just get started. And Replit is a great place for that, especially if you want something that looks good. It
Yeah.
looks good and it's smart. Like it makes sense and
Mm-hmm.
it understands, especially if you prompted it correctly. So slides, animations, oh my gosh, games, educational
Games,
games. We have to do a
yes.
whole episode on this next
Yes, we
time.
do. We do. 3D games, 2D games, really great games.
Educational
As
games
well.
like,
And
yeah.
this slide was made with Replit as well, just with a few prompts, which is great.
Yes, yeah. Well, the way, just so you know, when Noni and I are talking about what to talk about for our podcast, we will just throw ideas at each other until we decide what's the direction we want to go. And I will take it and I will put it into Replit, and I will generate slides that way. And it knows within the project what my brand is supposed to look like, what our brand looks like, and the style that I like, and all of that. And within minutes, we have not even minutes, maybe a slide deck to
Seconds, yeah.
yeah, seconds to use for presentation. So that's become very quickly one of my favorite things to do is to use Replit for presentations.
Mm-hmm.
The coolest thing I think I've ever built is the video games, the 3D video games with
Mm-hmm.
Replit.
Very fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is, I mean, I'm still amazed that that was possible. Um,
Mm.
but one thing worth talking about is, people are using it to build their websites and whatnot. There's a difference between front end and back end.
Mm-hmm.
So front end, you're really, and I'm not the person to define this for you, but when you think like, the part that people see, right? Where you've got the websites and what it looks like and the colors and all of that. That's
The design and the
the design,
features.
yes. So
Yeah.
that is a very front end type of focus. And I think Canva is amazing for that. I know you can do your website
Mm-hmm.
on Canva. I know you can really put things together. And I had somebody come up to me recently and ask me, hey, okay, Canva is great. You know, I built it out, whether it's on Claude or Canva, but you have to host your back end. So that's the actual core functionality. So let's say you're collecting email addresses is a simple example, right? Or you've got users who have to log in. Um, it sometimes becomes a headache where how do I actually get this to launch and work? It's all in Replit. Replit uses, I
Mm-hmm.
believe, Neon as the back end, and you have your database in there. So, for example, our website is on Replit, and I built out the front end on that too. And what I did with the front end was wonderful and beautiful with Replit, and you can see that. But we also have an admin back end, and we have a place where you, as subscribers, can put in your email addresses, and we can see everyone who's subscribed, and that's
Mm-hmm.
on the back end.
Yeah.
So Replit is extremely, extremely robust in that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, covering all everything from front end to back end. And it doesn't take too long. And you know, when you're making these apps as well, you have a mode, you have plan mode and you have build mode. So you're able to come up with ideas, plan it out first, and it gives you suggestions and plans it out for you. Then you could go into build mode when you're happy with it and it start building it out for you. And then if you're not happy with an idea, you want to change it up, you can still do that as well. And even after it's built a part of your app, you still can still go into it and iterate and change up things
Yeah.
quite easily just with a few prompts.
Yeah, you can absolutely. I mean, this is a great place for a working project. I think the number one drawback, what would you say the drawback is? Is there anything to be cautious of or limitation?
No. Am I supposed to say I've not found one yet. I'm
Yeah.
trying to look for one.
I'm
What's it in your opinion?
I think for me it's really the way to use your credits efficiently has to be learned.
Ah, yes, yes. I do
So
agree with this, yes.
yeah, so I think that's the number one thing if we're being completely real about it is,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of people decide, hey, I'm going to combine like with my stack of things that I have, I'm going to create my prompts on whether it's ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, whatever you're using, and then putting it into Replit as a little bit more of a tool. That being
Mm-hmm.
said, I believe planning mode uses less credits. So the longer that craft your idea in plan mode, you're going to use less credits than building it out every single time if you're not in plan mode. I think that's the one thing. But then if you think about it, the way that I think about it is, hey, because of the way that I'm using Replit, I was able to cancel my Gamma subscription. I was able to cancel, a bunch of my other AI things in my stack
Mm-hmm.
that I didn't realize, I could do on Replit as well. So
Yeah.
then when you put it all together, you're like, hey, is it actually that expensive? Or am I just
Mm-hmm.
paying it more in one place than, diversifying it
Yes.
across different
Yeah,
software?
and I'll come back to that point where you said you found yourself using less tools of, less of the other tools. I find that where I was going to other tools, asking them for ideas and planning it out, Replit actually does that for you.
Hmm.
When you want to come up with an idea or you're not sure about what to integrate into it, it can give you suggestions, it can give you ideas. I feel like it's taken over what I would do in another tool. And as well, it is important when you said about how to use the credits wisely, not to give it a very long prompt. Don't give it your whole project in one prompt.
Hmm.
Because first of all, I found where it's too much at once. It needs tasks broken down and you take it step at a time. And I think it works best that way as well, because when it's completed one prompt for you, you can take a look at it. And if you want anything changed, then you add the next prompt rather than giving a whole long prompt and then it just gets really confusing for yourself as well.
Right, right. I think it really comes down to your build style because I think I use it a little bit differently. I will give it that long prompt, and it's the only
Mm.
one that I give the long prompt to. That being said,
Mm.
you're gonna have to do a lot more edits if you give it one long
Mm-hmm.
prompt, right?
Yes.
Because you're not necessarily gonna like the output, depending again on how clear your vision was. But if you have a clear vision of what you want to create, I believe that one long prompt, I've never seen a tool sustainably keep working in the right direction because they have that AI drift that happens as you keep prompting sometimes. Um,
Mm-hmm.
with Replit, it will stay on track, right?
Yeah.
Which is what I noticed. And it will take your big plan and break it into tasks for you. Also, some of these things are happening. They have the different modes. It's worth talking about. There's light, there's economy, there's the power mode. Have you ever used turbo mode?
I have not used turbo mode, but I've heard great things about it. I have used power mode and it's absolutely fantastic.
I love power mode. It's almost to the point where like unless it's something that's very simple, I will
Yeah.
switch then to light or economy, but otherwise
Hmm.
I am a power user. I like
I
using
think we definitely need to have an episode where we're showing users all these because for someone who's new, they have no idea what we're talking about. But
100%.
economy mode is like it's a lot more the cheaper tool to use. Power mode is a little bit more expensive, but it does the work 10 times better. The results are great. I don't know if it's quicker. Would you say it's quicker? I wouldn't say it's quicker.
No, turbo I think is the quickest, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
6 times the cost or something. So unless you have funding or you've already set your budget and you've got it really clear and you want to set it and forget it. I've used turbo mode once on one of my projects
Yeah.
and it was expensive, but it was probably cheaper than if I had kept prompting again and again, and the output was
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. But I guess the big point for us is you can customize and you have control over
Yes.
how much you spend on Replit.
Yeah.
There are various modes. It's important to not get overwhelmed right away. I tell people if you're starting, start on economy or light and then go move up from there, depending. The biggest thing that I love also is that you can set your budget on Replit. Do you have a budget set on your Replit?
I don't like to have a budget set.
I know
I
sometimes it can
used to.
be,
I
yeah.
used to, but once I'm on a project and I want to keep going with it until it's finished. I don't like Replit to stop me and say you've used your budget. But it is
Mhm.
a great tool to like kind of stop it. I should use it because it should stop me when I'm overdoing it. But I like to get my project done without having an interruption.
Yeah, so I have a budget because I will spend everything. I will wonder where, to get my groceries or how to get them if somebody doesn't actually force my hand. And so for someone like me who might have a little less self-control, I think Replit, the fact that you can go into your settings and say, I don't want to spend more than this much, whether it's $25 or $100 or whatever your budget looks like, for the month. You can set a monthly budget. You can also set a warning for yourself. So I had it warn me,
Hmm.
especially before my build-a-thon win, I had it warn me at $80,
Hmm.
and then stop me at 100. The other thing though is that once you are stopped, it does take anything that costs you credits offline, which is also like your databases and stuff.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so that was a hard part. There's a way around that as well, but we don't need to get too technical about it. The big thing is you can control your spending with Replit, and it might actually be cheaper for you depending on how many AI tools you pay for per month,
Hmm.
to bring everything and consolidate it into one place. And it is
Yeah.
by far the most robust tool I've ever used.
Yeah, and we've used Replit specifically for education, turning classroom problems into real tools, which I think, and that's another day in another episode where we'll dive into what kind of tools we've made,
Mhm.
how they've helped us in our classrooms, and how it helps, our everyday knowing what you know as a teacher and then making that into a tool, how helpful that is. It's really great. And yeah, the other thing about Replit was ship so quickly.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
I got my app onto the App Store so quick. My first one took about a week or 2 weeks, I can't remember. And then my next one took about 2 days. So ship so quick. And then also
Yeah.
with websites, you can publish your website there and then once you're done.
Oh,
Just
yeah, the
click the
Classroom
publish
to
button
Code
and it's up.
website. And the what it creates is beautiful. I think sometimes you have to prompt it to make sure it doesn't look generic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And tell it the style you want, and the brand and all of that. But it will keep that consistent throughout, so you can keep updating your website and whatnot. And we actually host our Classroom to Code website on Replit. The
Mm.
important thing is it does more than just code or
Yeah.
create apps.
Yeah. And also, oh, I was gonna say something about the never mind. Mine's gone
Yeah.
blank.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many
And it was an
ideas,
important
right?
one as well, but it's
Well,
fine.
I'm sure it'll come back to you. I think that the best thing that I noticed was that, yes, maybe you're like, I don't want to build apps or I don't have an app idea. It also creates animation. The
Hmm.
slides are just amazing. I actually
Hmm.
found, because everything I make has to be research based, that's just my philosophy and the way that I do it. I find it, pretty much perplexity level, which is a big
Hmm.
one with research. And
Yeah,
that is something I look at very
that's really
closely.
great.
Yeah. And I check the
Oh, and that was it. That's what brought me back to skills.
Oh
Replit has a
yeah.
new thing about skills. So when you were talking about the UI, the design, the way the layout is, about it not being generic, you can Replit now has a feature where you can turn on the skills. I did specific UI UX skills to make it more, my style. Just a few prompts, a bit of description, and it made me a web page just today, this morning. Beautiful design. It wasn't that typical generic Replit one. It was really nice, exactly the way I wanted it. It was really nice. Have you
Yeah, this is
tried
so fun.
skills?
I tried it yesterday for the first time and I am
Yes.
blown away. I actually have been really
Yes.
overwhelmed by the App Store. Anyone who publishes to the App Store, there's a lot of uh, red tape that you have to go through, right? You have to be very specific and have a lot of rules. And so I made a skill where Replit pre-checks everything for me, and makes sure it's all right and ready to ship on the App Store. And then it actually tells me what to input.
That's
Everything.
so good.
The language,
And
yeah.
that's great because it's if you go to any other tool, it might just give you like generic instructions, but Replit would give you instructions according to your app and what
Yeah.
you've made it and its features in the app. So it would give you instructions according to that and how to get that specific app onto the App Store. That's really cool.
Well, I will tell you, I am going to be getting rid of a lot of things in my stack. Because at the end of the day, we're just asking, it's not about the tool itself, it's what do we need it to do for us, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm quickly finding that Replit is starting to become the place that I want to go for the things that I need. Whether it is research, whether it is image generation, whether it's creating a promo. That being said, again, we have to think about cost effectiveness of tools. But so much of what I've already done using AI tools, I can now go to Replit, or I feel like soon they're going to add the features and I'm just not going to need much else.
Mm-hmm. There's so many new features every day. I think there's a
Oh
new
yeah.
feature, a new integration from compared to what it was a few months ago. There's so much more you can do just in that one place. It's
Mm-hmm.
really cool.
Absolutely. I think it's really important to talk about also what teachers need to watch out for, like common pitfalls that we have. It can get really overwhelming really fast. We talked about a lot of tools today. These are by no means all the tools that we use either, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think just pick one and start trying. Everything
Yeah.
comes through action. Just try something based on your budget and what you need.
And your
And
situation.
yeah, and you don't have to do what anybody else is doing. It has to work for your goals. Um, the other thing we talked about this a lot is uh, you should never just copy and paste. You're still the expert. You're still the real brain behind everything. And um, I think the one of the terms I keep hearing is AI slop. There's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
slop out there.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to just
Sometimes you
take
can
and
tell
copy.
when somebody has used AI. That's why it's important to put your own spin on things. Definitely don't copy and paste. And again, like you said, don't trust anything without doing your own checks because there has been times when we've had to correct AI,
Mhm.
and then it
All the time.
apologizes and gives us the right. Oh, you're right,
Yeah,
and
it's like,
then gives
okay,
us the
you just
actual
lied to
answer.
me. you know but that's the thing. AI is not a source of truth, and I tell people this all the time. It's not a substitute for your brain and your
Mm-hmm.
creativity and your skills. It is a supplement. It's something they can work as a partner for you. But just like if you had a colleague that you're bouncing ideas off of, you're not going to blindly accept everything it says, everything it writes.
Mm-hmm.
For AI, you have to use it the same way. And these models are still being trained, they're still learning, and I think that's going to go on forever, right? It's never going to be human the way that we are. And so we have to check everything and use it as a thought partner, not, again, not a source of truth. It is not,
Mm-hmm.
you don't meet somebody and take everything they say, hopefully, without putting it through a filter. So everything that AI
Yes.
creates for you, you have to put it through a filter. Um, yeah, I think we also, it's not on the slide that we have here, but big thing is confidentiality. Student
Mm-hmm.
confidentiality, your own confidentiality, patient confidentiality for those kinds of specialists. Don't give it
Yeah.
information that you wouldn't want to publish on your website. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
would say.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one. And then hype, there's so much hype. Just
Yes.
do what's useful for you. Don't
Yes.
don't just do things because you think you should be.
Other people are doing it.
Yeah.
So, simple rule of thumbs: saves time, improves quality, supports accessibility, helps you build something useful. Um, that's what our rule is.
Yeah, and so a stack is a term that I learned from people in tech, and I didn't know what that was. Someone asked me, they said, "Well, what's your stack?" I was like, "Well, what's a stack?"
Mm-hmm.
It's just what people call your tools that you use. Everyone kind of has a different stack, more or less, depending on what's useful for you and what you're trying to accomplish. And so we talked a little bit about the things that are in our stack today. If you could only keep three, this is a question that I'm just throwing at you, Noni, but what would you keep in your stack?
Okay, 100%. First one for me is Replit,
100%.
definitely.
I wouldn't have a business
Uh,
without Replit, so it stays.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's since the Replit came into my life, I couldn't do without. Second one, Canva. I would not let that one go. That's a really great one. Because there's so much you can do on it. I mean, if you're not familiar with Canva, definitely have a go at it. It is really good. Number three, you know, as common as it is, I do go back to ChatGPT, but then I also do really like Claude. So I think right now these days, because of the app development and things, I like Claude more towards Claude. So yeah, Replit, Canva, Claude. What
Oh,
about yourself?
so this is so hard for me because I'm like, wait, no, I think I need four. But Replit, 100%.
Mhm.
I'm actually migrating my entire ed tech ecosystem onto Replit. That's where I,
Yes.
get paid. That is where I put out my tools, make a difference, all of that. My business is slowly, it was not until this year, but it is, I see us just moving to Replit in full.
Hmm.
Canva is definitely number two as well for me. I just love the customizability. I like Canva for everyday stuff. I like it for a lot
Hmm.
of things. And then so again, I like chat and I think I use ChatGPT very frequently. But again, it's a little too affirmative for me. I'm not 100% sold on, its validity in a lot of things it does. And again, as
Hmm.
a researcher, that bugs me. I would probably between the two, I would choose Claude, Claude or
Hmm.
Perplexity.
Yeah.
That's my tie in third place. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that.
With Replit and Canva being my first, I did put on a post as well on X that this needs to be an integration. Replit needs to integrate Canva. How amazing would that be?
You know what I just
Imagine.
realized?
Yeah.
We have we have Claude within Replit, don't we?
Huh?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when you're choosing the models that you're using,
Yes.
it's in Replit. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess I don't need Claude
Yeah.
if I'm
Well,
just using
yeah.
Replit, right?
Sometimes you want it as on the side as standalone app just to I don't know, I like to have it separately
Yeah.
rather than in Replit, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Um but coming back to Canva integration, that needs to happen.
Yeah, let's tweet about it and see if anyone listens to us.
Yeah. I put a tweet. Nobody listened to that one. I'm gonna do another one.
Oh yeah, I'm
Canva
gonna
and
like it.
Canva and Replit need to happen.
Let's put it out there. Actually, I might start pushing for that too.
Yes.
Again, AI is tools. Use it to make drafts, get suggestions, be more efficient. It can help you with your burnout, I believe, because of how much it
Mm-hmm.
can cut down your plan time and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always only going to give you a first draft. Do not ever trust everything that comes out.
Yes. It's
Okay.
not always relevant to you or your workplace.
Mhm.
Um,
And you're
yeah.
accountable. You're accountable for everything you put in front of your students. You put your name on, right? So, like, if something, if Claude or anybody writes me a report, any tool, and I put my name on it, I've taken that and said it's mine. And so if there is anything dangerous, anything confidential, if there's anything that's not right in it, that is not something that I can take my like not be accountable for. So
Mm-hmm.
be careful. I think there's a lot of sloppy use of AI where people think, oh, I can just take this and copy and paste it without reading because well, it's not maybe it's lazy use, right? It's not a
Mm-hmm.
tool for you to be lazy. It's a tool for you to get started.
Yeah, support, backup,
Yeah, exactly.
reduce the workload.
Okay, I just really quickly want to talk about what did you use in your company, Bamboo Brain? You making educational apps.
Mm-hmm.
What do you use? What's your stack for your company for the tools that you make?
So for so the stack, the AI stack that I use,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, Replit number
Hmm.
one, and Canva. Replit and Canva. I have used Claude and ChatGPT and um yeah, mainly Claude and ChatGPT, but mainly the main ones are Canva and Replit. Canva for all the design features, my personalized designs I like to put into my app, and obviously Replit to build the apps.
Did you
What
use
about
anything
yourself?
non-AI? I'm
Non-AI,
curious.
yeah, I've to like hand draw images, Procreate on
Yes, I
iPads.
love Procreate.
Yeah, so they're like personal artistic elements in the apps for myself, which is great because Replit does that really great. You can make your personalized custom whatever you want to make, put it in, feed it into Replit and it'll put it into your app wherever you want it. That's what I like about.
Amazing. I modal education, I've used a lot of different tools over the years because my company is 7 years old, and so it kind of comes before this whole AI, the popularity of AI and using it to create like that. And I have used oh my goodness, so much stuff. Canva was a big one, especially early on, and it still is. Especially when it came to elements, I was animating things. Canva, you can animate on it as well. You can move things
Mm-hmm.
across the screen and whatnot. And I was animating story problems and things like that. So Canva is a huge one for me. Still
Yes.
is. Replit hosts my newer stuff. My old stuff, I did not. I actually use a different LMS that I'm migrating off of because of its limitations. Um, and let's see, yeah, I think AI stack wise, Perplexity for anything that needs research. Um, I have used Claude for my data analysis anytime I'm presenting research data, things like that. Modal Education does a lot of different things. I've got so many apps and so many uses for it. But the biggest one is again, I'm migrating my ecosystem to Replit, and that's gonna,
Mm-hmm.
I think, to be the biggest one that I use.
That's really cool. I, for a very long time, wanted to make this bamboo brain app, like educational tool, like an educational brand, but I didn't know where to start until I joined Replit. So that's my all of my apps, my tools are off based all in Replit.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, I see myself continuing to build on Replit for as long as I'm able to, especially because I can monetize right on there. One thing I know our last episode we talked about accidentally making money, and as soon as we recorded that episode, I accidentally made some money from Replit. And I was like,
Yes.
oh, I didn't mention this because I didn't know it was
Yeah.
going to happen. I got $50. I'm actually not even sure what was sold. I have to go back and check. But
Yeah.
apparently, as for through one of the apps that I've created, I made money on Replit, and Replit pays you back in credits. And so I
Yes, and
got
that's through the Stripe integration, isn't it?
it is, and I have Stripe
Yes.
integrated. I've also now set up my revenue cap because I am moving everything to the App Store again. All of this is
Yeah.
for a later time. We've gone
Yes.
through an extensive list today, but the biggest thing is you are the expert. If you're an educator listening to this or any kind of domain expert at all, whatever you know, you're the human, you're the expert. AI is there to help you. It
Hmm.
is not going to become you.
Replace.
Yeah, or
Yes.
replace. That's the hot button thing, right? Like, oh, AI is
Yeah.
going to replace us. No, it's changing your job. It's not replacing you as a person. You're always going to be the human.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to be the one connecting with your students, and you're going to be the one
Mm-hmm.
who sees the problems firsthand in the classroom. AI
Yes.
needs to do what AI does. It needs that human input, and for you, AI can make like your life easier, right?
Yeah.
So
Reduce your workload, amplify everything that you do, as long as it's used as long as you know how to use it. And we will be having more episodes on what we built, how it's helped us, how we've used AI and integrated it into what we do as educators.
100%. There's we're building, a community around us as educators, around teachers, because I really do believe that teachers are one of the most important professions in general, not just as a teacher myself, but as a parent. I see the impact of teachers. And as a human, I know the impact of teachers had on me. And I want to invite everybody, come to classroomtocode.com, check out our newest episodes. We'll be releasing episodes every Teacher Tuesday is the goal, until further notice. And
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, come listen to us on Spotify. We have an email subscription. Join our email list through our website. And thank you for being here today.
Thank you guys for tuning in.